Hello everybody. In today's video we're doing continuing from last week, so it's a code with me. We're looking at little database application. So what we're going to be doing is adding some coloring into our grids. We're going to add a column to our database to recognize whether a vehicle is registered or not, and if the vehicle is not registered we can have an option of adding it into the database, and the coloring then will be used to recognize whether or not the vehicle is registered. So we've got some sort of visual highlighting there. So also you will recognize that I've sort of screwed up my IDE because I was playing with an older version. I actually installed an older version of Lazarus to look at another project, and I managed to mangle my latest one. So hey, you get to see a bit more code, don't have to worry about the messages window, etc. So yeah, let's go, shall we? So if you like these sorts of ideas and you think you might learn something in developing a database application, just stay on for the rest of the video. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is the coloring in of rows in the grid. So to do that we're going to be using the onPrepare canvas event handler on the database grid, rather than looking at onDraw column cell, which you might be using if you come from the Delphi world. So we're going to, let's get rid of this function. Let's get rid of that one, and here what we have then is my basic code here for doing some drawing in terms of skeleton code, shall we say. So we're looking at the database grid here, and if we're looking at whether or not the vehicle is registered, so let's type in, if we go back to my Heidi SQL, I've already added the vehicle registered column. I've just made it a char for a yes or no. Could use boolean, small int, all those sorts of things. At the moment this is just the easiest way. So what we're going to do here is to vehicle registered, G-I-S-T-E-R-E-D, and the reason why I'm just got yes here to color it red is just to get it started, so we can make sure that it looks correct. It'll do what we want to do before we can make it proper like. Okay, so we need to get rid of that one because we knocked it out before. Remove. That was just a question about do we want to, because we remove the reference at remove any code sort of thing. So here you can see now that every row is colored in red. That's because they are all registered, and hence the red background there. So we're halfway there now, so let's get rid of that message. So if we now change that to no, which is what we wanted, then I actually don't want to change the red background. I want the font color actually to be I actually want the font color to be red. So let's run that again. Cool. Okay, so we're halfway there now. So we'll make that no again. So only highlight the rows for something which is not registered. So we're going to go into the find code for a vehicle, and here what we want to do is, well, I probably don't want to filter it here. So what I'm going to do, we'll go back over here and let's see what we've got here. because that's actually going to be adding it in, if we do say no here. So I'm going to use now my isValidPermit function again, which is probably what I used in the beginning, and yeah, that'll work. So we're going to go here and this will be our edit one text again. Begin. Okay, so here we're going to be using a message dialog. You can see there's a number of different methods here, but what we essentially want to be doing is looking for a dialog which will basically be a question, and we'll have the options of, do you want to add the dialog, yes or no, and we can skip over any help text. So caption can be yeah, vehicle not found. And our message will be, do you want to add this okay, my buttons will be okay, MB yes. If I got MB yes no, I wonder if that will work. Yep, cool. And then no help context, so we can say here if equals MR yes, then okay. Now here, what we might do first of all is we're going to do it this way, just to make sure we can, all this function, all this code here works together, the row gets added in, and it will also be in red. So we're going to have to also change this function here so that we can indicate whether, that the vehicle is unregistered, or will you just add in another function? So I might go into here, and what we're actually going to add into here, I'm going to make this an optional parameter. So A is registered. Now if I make it a boolean, yeah, make it a boolean. And to make this optional here, true. And the thing here now, just so you are aware, is that because I'm not specifying any column names, by the way, and because I'm going to be the last column basically is going to be whether or not it's registered or not. That's how I can get away with a different name here. So what we're going to do now is to say let's call it a string string here, and we can say here if the benefit, by the way, in having it as an optional parameter will be obvious here is that by default it will be true there, so when it's true it'll be yes, whereas down here I can now do this one, and now that gets added in. So we're going to have to now refresh the view, but when we go to here, that will do a refresh there anyway. So we're now just going to run the program again, and okay, let's fix up that bit. So it's not a valid permit. Do you want to add to the database with a question there? What doesn't it like about that? Let's see what's project. Okay, what do we got here? I got that one, I got that one. Ah, that should be false, yes. One, two, three, four. Ah, yes, okay. 1, 2, 3 dialog type. I knew something was missing there. Dialog type. This one will be a confirmation message. Okay. So let's type in some random number. We're going to do a find. Do you want to add to the database? And here, first of all, we're going to say no, and it's not there. We'll do a find again, and now we'll say yes. And now when we look at it, why is that row in red? Ah, the random rego number. So let's be, rather than using that one, we want to put this value here in there instead. So we'll just stop that one, run that again. The joys of cutting and pasting code, you manage to screw it up every time. Okay, PPP 666, and we'll say yes, we do want to add it into the database. There we go. Now we're looking a bit better. So why don't we now add in a form to get the values, the color, and it will be equal to false. So file, New form. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do here is to save this one here. Give our form a name. I'm going to make it probably will. I'll leave it null. Okay. So we're going to need to have two buttons here. One's going to be a cancel and one's going to be OK. Modal result. That one can be cancel. That one's modal result here. Where is it now? This actually, we should make that one there. Set the cancel on that one, and here on this one. Okay. So okay, cancel, and modal result is set one there. Button cancel. I think that's all I want for that one. Button OK. This one will be MR OK and BPN OK. OK, and we'll make this one here also the default button. And now we just have to add in our fields. That'll be the vehicle rego number, the make and model, and then we want to have the color. Now, in this instance here, I'm just going to be lazy and I'm going to make you type it out. I probably would have a drop down control in another world, but so this one here can be rego number. No, I don't have a colon there. And this one here, we're going to go to here, copy that one down to here, and going to call this one here now color. I'm not really American, but so let's go and wonder if I can do this one here. Yep, okay, so we're going to make all of these fields, remove the text in all of them. So control key down, select all my fields, and I can just clear that one. Now I want to change this name here so I can recognize it more easily. So we're going to call this one edit rego, edit make, and here so let's just check our tab order out now. So I want to make sure that we start in the rego field as well, but we'll cover that in a mo. And well, actually, if we automatically fill that and fill that one, so we're just going to put some default text into here actually. Kia Rio. And that's going to contain that one there, so we're going to want to probably put it there. Or not, but anyway, let's go. So we're going to go and we should give this form a proper name as well now. Now for a form like this, I'm going to jump into here, this one, and you can see us added it in already. Now, you can see in this particular one here in the project options, I could just remove that line from the project source and it will achieve the same result. But in here, I only want it to have the first two auto created. I don't want to have this form auto created. I will look after that part myself. So let's just save everything just in case something goes wrong. And get rid of that one too. Okay, so we're going to go to there and we're going to put this one here. The reason why I'm not going to put it up here is because the nothing in here depends on that particular form unit. So I will just throw it down here. And then here what we can do is, okay, do you want to add this vehicle, yes or no? So we're going to put one of them there. Okay. Okay. Yep, form new vehicle. And now we will free that one here. Okay, so and this is why I want to be able to see what my fields are here. Edit rego dot text, edit one dot text there, and that'll automatically be filled in. They'll type in their own color, and what we will do here, well actually I'll probably want to edit text.read only. I don't really want the user to be able to actually change it. So we can also make that one read only, and that'll fix up that part. That means that will be correct. That would be correct. Well, actually, okay. Not added, so we'll create the form, set the rego read only, show it. If they get the OK, we add it, and then we free it, and life goes on. Cool. Now the only thing I haven't done here really would be to set the position of this form here, and I'm going to make that the main form center. And for my main form then, I'm also going to set its position as being, let's go for desktop center there. So now we can actually build this whole thing again. And now run it. Okay, so now we've got our main form again. I haven't cleared the rego, but that's okay. And now what we'll do is we're going to do LLK, which is this row here. And what's it going to say? Nothing, because it's found. So that's going to be a problem. You don't know whether it's found or not. But if we do something like RRT 675, okay, do you want to add it? And we will say yes. Okay, so now we've got our form pops open, and we can now just go down to our color, type in red, for instance, hit the OK button, and now it's in our database. To be honest, I'm not overly fussed with having that as an edit control. So the last thing I actually am going to do here well, there's two things actually. One, when it's found, it doesn't give me any indication that it's there. I don't really want to have a dialogue to say it's found, because that's right, like I'm going to be an extra click. If it's not found. Look, I'll think about that between now and the next video, how I'd get around that. But here what we're going to do is I'm going to pull these colors here out to somewhere else without necessarily putting it into the, maybe we'll put that into my data module for the sake of the experiment. Yeah, why not? Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're going to, right this second, I'm just going to copy it across, and I'm just going to throw it here, but I'm also going to call it G car colors now. That's array 1 to 9. Okay, and we'll go to here, and now we can make that G car colors and remove that one, because over here we're going to remove that one and we're going to replace it with a combo box here. C1BO. Okay, color. Now let's just check our tab order again. Rego make, okay, let's move that up too. The last thing you'd like with your forms is to have the going from, say, something like from the rego field to the make, to the OK button, to the cancel button, and then back up to color. Have some consistency in the ordering of the fields. So I've made that change there, and here what we can do is we're now going to make it into it is going to be just a drop down rather than a drop down list, because if I want to be able to type something in there if I wanted to. And what we need to do is populate the items here when the form is shown or created then. So what we're going to do here is let's do it in the on create. Here we go. So here now, what we can do is something like for let's go here. I'm gonna do it yet. We need to actually add in here users, u data mod. Only reason I'm chucking it clear in here, I'm not saying that because I haven't added anything in, but on the worst case scenario where something had been added in during design time, that fixes up that problem. So now when we run it, okay, that should be the combo box color. WET 5732 find, yes, and now I should probably clear that value, but that's okay. Select violet, hit OK, and now when we go across we can't really, it is actually violet, I can see there. So that is it. So we've done all I want to do for this particular video. So what have we done? Well, let's quickly go through the code and to illustrate where, the changes we've made. So basically when the vehicle wasn't found, we're given a prompt to say, hey, do you want to add to the database? And if we say yes to that question, we create a new form, automatically populating the rego number field, and if they do click OK on that particular form, then it gets added to the database, and once it was added to the database, that view is also refreshed, and we then, being the good programmer that we are, if we create something down here, then we free it there. The next bit of code that we added in was that a vehicle that was unregistered, we put the font or the color of the text in that row in red. Now, the other thing which I do want to point out about the change that we did make, we are also using the existing functionality that we had added previously. So here, checking or not whether a car was valid or not, and then here with the add permit function, all we had to do was to add in an optional parameter there, which meant we didn't have to change that bit of code there, and it works. So pretty simple, I would hope. And if you have any questions or thoughts, hit me up in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What would you do? Tell me, what will you do when you, if the vehicle were found in the database? How would you implement that yourself? So again, tell me in the comments, and until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then, and bye.